What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Saturday, December 12th to all of you. Thank you for watching our big NCAA football kickoff show here on odds.com. The panel of experts are ready to rock. Let's welcome them in and then welcome in this great chat. All the great cappers supporting us and rolling with us today. First off, DJ Big Boss. How's it going, my man?
All I got to say is Sparta. Shout out to San Jose last night, man. They did a really good job in that game, man. It's one thing when you come down from a 20-7 game and come back, but then when you take the lead, you just keep your foot on the gas, man. It was awesome.
I couldn't believe it, man. I'm 4-0 on the week in NCAA football. It's been a great week across the board in sports, but the market moved against me 5 points. I had San Jose State minus 2.5. They go off at plus 2.5. I had the under 58. It goes off at 62.5, and we cashed both. It felt so good. Ragoo, my man, how are you this morning?
I'm licking my wounds from that one, my man, but I'm doing good. I was on plus one. I got caught, like on the move. I caught the move a little bit in between, but it was good. Fantastic game. Good win for San Jose, and we'll chalk some W's up today. I guarantee you that.
We will, and we're rolling right now. And John Ryan, best bet on our Monday show, Arizona State. What they only covered by 53 points. John, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good, Jay. I've been kind of scorching hot here, and when you're scorching hot, you have games where I had a game of the month last night on Villanova, who covered by, I think, 1.5 and was down 40-22 at one point to Georgetown. So when you're running hot, the horseshoe is always a good thing to have.
It is a great thing to have. Let's get right after it. We've got a lot of games to cap, less than we've had last couple of weeks. I think we're going to be able to break through this whole card with some sense of calm. Shout out to all the cappers rolling with us. We got Raymond Reichart in the house. Scott Feinstein saying, anyone have a thought on the under 61 in Nebraska, Minnesota? I promise you we will get there. Marshall Hoffman rolling. We got Coke and Devil Folk. Devil Folk, there's a new name in the chat. Eric Jones ready to go. Eric Chang, Nuke Worker, coming to us. I don't know if he's live from Darlington Nuclear or he has the day off, but a great capper. OG low bagger. Ashley Wait, aloha from Hawaii. Rich Pasek ready to go. Joey Harb. There is Ron Walsex, has missed those horses. Yes. By the way, Ragoo, we have tax running today at Gulfstream. Ooh, shit.
Check it out.
But let's focus on football. Trotwam in that Black Thor running hot. It feels like as a group we are running very, very hot right now, and it feels so good. Amsterdam, what else ready to go? Brian Weatherford. We got Brian Trotwam, the real Jolly Roger, Nilo in the house. What a great group. All right, well, it's time to attack Buck Nasty, Dale Cadeau, Birdie. What a great group. Julian Cesario, our guy Julian, Leonard Welch.
Julian, yeah. What's up, Julian?
Serious Business, Nick Dillard, Lee Federchak, Joseph James Jr., Everyday Joe Sports, 80 Proof TV, Dennis Garcia says Latriska also runs. Oh, man. God, that makes me want to just focus on the ponies. Okay, but we are here. We're hammering NCAA football, and the week started off great. For me, Pittsburgh minus 6.5, a casher. Arizona State over 54.5, casher. San Jose State minus 2.5, casher. San Jose State under 58, casher. I only have 4 games left from the Monday show, and then I added Georgia Southern. But let's start attacking this card right now. We are going to start with Wake Forest, Louisville. That is the first game on our docket. Let me just get this all set up here very quickly. Sorry, it was a rush getting all these games prepared for in the morning and lack of sleep. A joyous night full of glory. Okay, let's go. We're Cardinal Stadium, Louisville, Kentucky, 59 Fahrenheit showers, but the showers end early, 15-mile-per-hour winds. There's some wind that we'll be dealing with today, but generally the weather is pretty good. Wake Forest being off since November 11th. Is that fact? They've been off for that long? Shit. Due to positive COVID tests and contact tracing, they were last seen when they snapped a 4-game winning streak in the 59-53 loss at North Carolina. God, that almost sounds wrong to me. Is that really how long they've been off for?
I think it is, Jimmy. I'm looking at it right now.
I think it's been a week or so.
That's what I thought.
November 14th was their last game.
November 14th.
North Carolina.
Wow, 59-53 loss at North Carolina. Louisville coming off a 34-27 loss at Boston College. Louisville opening up as 2.5-point favorites. That's 2. It's 1 at the indicator books. This total's gone from 64 down to 61.5 at the indicator books, but 62.5s are available. Let's start around the horn. Wake Forest, Louisville. We'll go down to the bottom. John Ryan, you have any feel here?
Well, you have a team in Louisville that is really good at turning the ball over, and I say that sarcastically for a reason. I think last week they had 5 turnovers. They had 3. But in 4 straight games, they've had 3 turnovers exact, and they're not winning the turnover battle. And if there's ever a stat in college football that predicts the winner straight up and against the spread, it's turnover margin. Wake Forest, although they haven't played since, as we said, since November 14th, has not had a turnover in 4 games. And they've been pretty good at forcing turnovers. They had first 3 games were 3 each, and then 1 in their last game against North Carolina. So, I think this line is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. I think Wake Forest should be favored, and maybe by 6, 7. And I think Wake Forest will force turnovers on Louisville, and Louisville is not a team that you can expect to take care of the ball anytime soon.
Wow, interesting breakdown. Wake Forest, as should be 6-point favorites, as our John Ryan. Let's move over to Big Ragoo, Wake Forest, Louisville.
Yeah, John hit a lot of key points. That the one main one that I was going to talk about was with Louisville taking care of the football, where Wake is plus 15 and Louisville is minus 14 in that regard. But the big thing about Louisville, we kind of expected them to play better offensively, which they can at times, but they have had their struggles. But the big thing is on the defense. They still lack a run support game. And we know Wake likes to put the ball down the field, but I think, Wake, with that little bit of rest that they had here, they might come out and try to, pound the rock a little bit early, spread the running backs around in some formations and then loosen them up downfield. So I kind of agree with John as far as, the wrong team probably favored here. But the look I am, and I'm kind of going contrarian here, I'm going to take Wake Forest on a team total. I bet it early in the week at minus 115 at 30.5. I know it's 31 now, no big deal there, minus 120. But I think Wake is going to score probably about 34 to 40, mid 40s here. So I think they cracked that 30 without too much problem here. And I look for this. I'm not going to say the game's going to go over, but my play is going to be Wake team total over 30.5.
Interesting look, Wake team total. DJ Big Boss, Wake Forest, Louisville, take it away.
This one right here, I'm going to stay all the way clear from. At this point in the season, there's no reason to jump into games where there's too many wild variables. And Wake Forest not playing for a while, that could have an adverse effect. They could come out fired up and ready to go. A lot of teams, like when Alabama had to sit out a few times, they become hungry in those spots. But some teams, they come out a little flat. They haven't played in a while. So it's too many variables up in there to get involved, especially with a team like Louisville who haven't really been doing nothing like what they were planning to do early in the season or what we expected out of them. But total stay off for me, man. But it's going to be an interesting game to watch.
Big Boss, let's go right back to you here. We're going to go to the Pac-12. Again, we're going to go down the rotation order. It's going to be really easy for people to follow. We are Utah, Colorado next, 257, 258. This total opened up at 50.5. It's now down to 47.5, and we jumped on it on the Monday show. I got it at 50.5, so I beat that market move by 3 points. Colorado opens up as 1-point favorites, but that has shifted all the way over to Utah. We're at Folsom Field, Boulder, Colorado, 31 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 4 miles per hour. Utah coming off its first win of the season, 30-24 at home over Oregon State. It was a mistake. I had an okay day, and then I doubled up on Utah. They were up 30-10 and let Oregon State back in it with their backup quarterback. That came on the heels of a 33-17 season opening home loss to USC and a 24-21 loss at Washington. Colorado 4-0 coming off a 24-13 win at Arizona. Big Boss, do you agree with this market move towards Utah?
I wouldn't really necessarily go after a side in this game. Colorado's been playing some good ball. Utah's been playing some good ball, but they got a late start. If they're anything like the Utah from last year, Colorado got another thing coming, but Colorado got a lot of weapons over there this year. They're playing physical, tough defense over there. The only way I could jump in this game is going on the total, and I like to go under on that one.
Yeah, we beat that move on Monday. John Ryan, Utah, Colorado.
Well, I like Colorado quite a bit here. It's definitely worth a look to bet on Colorado. They, in my opinion, my research tells me that they're the better team on both sides of the ball. For example, Utah is scoring 22.7 points per game as compared to 31.8 for Colorado. Defensively, Colorado's allowing 24 points a game. Utah's allowing 27. We all know I like the drill down metrics, points per play. Utah is 95th in the nation with a .333 points per play. And Colorado is 55th with a .404 ratio. So what that means is Colorado is a more efficient offensive team. They're the better team, and they're the better team on both sides of the ball. So Colorado is a very good look right now.
And now you're going to get a nice money line, those of you who want to move on Colorado. Ragoo, what do you think here? Pac-12 action, Utah, Colorado.
Well, Utah's got Jake Bentley, the transfer from South Carolina. And Ty Jordan, had a pretty good effort last week. I think he racked up like 169 yards. But you know where Utah lives, right? They live on the defensive side of the ball. That's their bread and butter. And I think this game suits them perfect for them to have a great opportunity to walk away with the W. I mean, Broussard was good over the first few games for Colorado with, some 300 yards. But last week they played the Wildcats, which wasn't saying much there. But I think Utah, through all their efforts and I'm not going to say lack of games because they're both short sample sizes here, but I think talent-wise, I'm going to give them a little bit of an edge on the defensive side and definitely an edge on the coaching sideline. So I do think it's the right move with the money line or the money going the other way with Utah. So I would have a strong lean on Utah here to get to the window with it, but there's a good possibility I will. So I lean with the Utes.
John and Ragoo on other sides of the fence here. So then, John, Brendan Saldana asking about the team total over 23.5 for Colorado. You would prefer taking Colorado on the money line than what Brandon is talking about with the team total?
Exactly right. Yep. I would put the risk in the money line. Yep.
All righty, let's keep rolling. Pace is good. We're going to go right back to Ragoo here because we're talking about number 1 Alabama, 9-0 at Arkansas, 3-6 Razorback Stadium, Fayetteville, Arkansas, 40 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Alabama being beating up on opponents. They open up as 31-point favorites. Actually, I got to switch opening. I'm going to switch books here. My opener. And now at 32 or 31.5. This total sitting at 68. Alabama being dominant, absolutely dominant this season. They're coming off 55-17 win at LSU. They're defeating teams by an average of 30.9 points per game, now gaining them by an average of 191.3 yards. Arkansas coming off its third straight loss, 50-48 in Missouri. They've lost their last 2 games to Mizzou and LSU by a combined 5 points. And before we go to Ragoo, let me just say, I love this shit so much. It is such a joy getting to cap with you guys. We get to deal with this lack of sleep and all this hard work that goes into capping. And then once we get here, this is so much fun. So, you guys, the guys on the panel here make it so much fun. And you guys in the chat, what a treat it is to cap with you guys. Ragoo, take it away. Alabama, Arkansas.
Many moons ago, we started betting this first half Alabama's, and they've been making money like crazy. And later in the season, they kind of caught up to us a little bit. But this year, not so much. I mean, this team has been so friggin' dominant. It's not even fair. It's like they're on a whole nother atmosphere, universe, wherever they're playing. But Arkansas, they did some nice things early in the season, but this is probably going to be their last game of the season. Obviously, I don't know if they're going to go to bowl, but they have been competitive at times. But they're dead last in time of possession, and that's going to really hurt them here because Alabama, what do? They strike quick, and the offensive line is strong. There's no real weaknesses on defense, and they're just playing lights out. I don't know if I'm going to go to the window laying 31, but I might have a first half look. I know I'm going to say it's probably around 19, 18 and a half, 19 points. Maybe we get to the window early with that. But Arkansas is they're going to be up against it today. There's just too much talent both ways coming at them. And even though Pittman's done a nice job with that team, there's no quitting this team. I'll tell you that, though. Just when you think, they're going to go away, they always seem to fight back. And historically, this has been a pretty good series. But hopefully, we get a decent game out of it. But I probably won't get to the window, but maybe a little small half unit on first half just to watch it. But that's my look on this game.
Yeah, it's actually come back a point, 20 and a half opening down to 19 and a half. DJ, Big Boss, we're at Razorback Stadium, Alabama, Arkansas.
Hop on the train, man. If you've been betting Alabama and just going with the flow, laying the wood, as my guy John Ryan would say, you probably like 7-2 right now, and nothing wrong with keep laying the wood with Alabama. They can't make a spread that's high enough sometimes, so they have to stop somewhere. But in this game right here, this Alabama team, we've seen nothing but hunger out of this team. Like, I don't know what the future is for them to win it, but it's probably it probably should be minus 120 or more. But these guys got it in the bag, so hop on the Alabama train.
And you would take them first half over full game?
Absolutely. That's what most of these guys been doing for the last 2 years now. So you can split the unit and take them first half and full game. Have fun.
John Ryan, Alabama, Arkansas.
Well, Alabama's beaten Arkansas 13 straight years. It's more than likely going to be a 14th one. I don't think too many 31-point favorites have actually won straight up, but there are a few, believe it or not. The offense is led by the three-headed monster. If you're on the opposing defense with Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Devonta Smith, all up for the Maxwell Award for the best athlete in the country. Which I don't know if that's ever happened with three players on the same team being voted on. But it's all very positive. What's really impressive, we all remember when they gave up, I think it was 49 to Mississippi State, and everybody was saying, the defense isn't the same as years past. Well, they're leading the SEC now and allowing only 18 points per game. So I think the play here, based on the defense being so dominant for Alabama, is to play the under. I like looking at last home games, last road games. In the last 40 years, Alabama is 18-22 against the number, which isn't all that impressive and not that meaningful, really. But over the last 11 years, they're 8-3. And I think that reflects more of Coach Saban's influence on the program. So I certainly would never take Arkansas in this situation, but I do like the under and would expect Arkansas to score very few points, if any.
Yeah, and interesting.
68's the total, right?
68's the total. But
how about this look here? All right, we know that Felipe Franks likes to throw the ball around the yard a little bit. And the team total for Arkansas is 18 points. You think they got a shot to get there? I think they might have a shot to get 18 points in this game. I know John says he thinks a little different, but I'm just thinking, here's the thing to think about in this game too. We know that they're going to the SEC championship game, and Florida's going to be in the same scenario. So basically, do they really want to risk getting players hurt later in the game if they got a comfortable lead? Maybe they get a little garbage time. Scoring out of Arkansas, because Felipe Franks, he's going to play the whole game if he survives it. So maybe Arkansas over 18 is a look here too.
Yeah, Mark.
The wild card with the under is the players coming out. But I do think over the course of the season here, the market adjusts for these games occurring in such a much greater fashion, where starters are coming out in the fourth quarter, more so than any other season we've seen. My take on the 68, it would be more like 65 if these trends were not so well entrenched for this season. Just my take.
Let's stay in the SEC. We're going to talk about number 9, Georgia 6-2 at number 25, Missouri 5-3. Georgia opening up as 7-point favorites. that hasn't changed. Actually, there are a couple 7.5s on the board, I should say, and the 7s are juiced. Oh, shit, that's first half. What the hell am I talking about? Didn't feel right. Said it. Sorry. Georgia opening up at 13.5. They're now at 14. This total's gone from 52.5 to 54 or 55. 39 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 12 miles per hour. Memorial Stadium, Columbia, Missouri. Since their disappointing 44-28 loss at home to Florida, Georgia has beaten Mississippi State 31-24. That was kind of underwhelming at home. But then they won at South Carolina 45-16. Missouri's last loss was also to Florida. They lost 41-17 back on Halloween. Since then, they have won at South Carolina 17-10, won at home over Vanderbilt 17, also 17-10. I don't know if sorry, a lot of this capping is being done in the last 12 hours. I don't know if that is right. And Arkansas last week 50-48. John Ryan, SEC spot here, Georgia, Missouri. Take it away.
This is a pretty good matchup here. It's really a shame for the Georgia program. Every year they seem to be at one game away from reaching their goals. But here again they have the 2 losses, but they are playing pretty darn good football right now. I don't trust Missouri even as a home dog. There is a betting system on Georgia here that's 69% winners since 2000. You're playing against home dogs of 10 to 21 points with a poor turnover defense, forcing 1 or less turnovers per game than their opponent does to them. And after 3 games where they forced 1 or 0 turnovers. So again, when we talked about at the beginning of the show, turnovers are a tremendous predictive tool for the outcomes of college football games. And here we have a situation where we're exploiting a dog that should be getting more points.
Very, very interesting take. Big Boss, Georgia, Missouri.
We got JT Daniels over there on the offensive side of things for Georgia. He's been making a difference lately for their offense. But the thing about their defense is if you take a close look at them, the defense has been giving up a lot of points, and this is supposed to have been like a lockdown defense right here. They're only giving up 70, 80 yards on the ground or something like that, but giving it up through the air. And in this Missouri game, this is a conference battle and all this good stuff. Right here, you got to jump in and go ahead and take those points on the other side. That's what you do in these kind of games. Take the home dog, 13. It's definitely priced a little bit too high, but go ahead and take that.
Ragoo, any feel here, Georgia, Missouri, SEC battle?
If there's one weakness for Georgia, we would have to be in the secondary. That's been problematic for them as far as that goes. Missouri does a lot of – they don't do everything great. I mean, they're obviously they're pretty solid at 5-1. I mean, they beat up on some of the weaker, but I wouldn't classify them in that as far as a top tier team. But they're probably like number 2, number 3, conference wise. I mean, division wise. But I think they may be a little bit overrated as far as the number goes. And I'm not going to put the onus on Georgia to get to the 14. I'm not crazy about laying that kind of number on the road with Georgia because I think they're not going to really, exploit a lot. Maybe the only way they can cover that number, they're going to need some turnovers, and both of them are negative in that respect right now. So I don't have a play here, but if I had a lean, I would probably take the home team plus the points.
Let's move on to Michigan State at Penn State. Dennis Garcia in the house. Great to see you. Dennis says, I wasn't on Sparty Party last week, but we'll be back on them this week. Michigan State, Penn State, Beaver Stadium, University Park, Pennsylvania, 45 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 2 miles per hour. Michigan State, 2-4 in the Big Ten. Penn State, 2-5 in the Big Ten. Michigan State coming off an ass whooping by Ohio State, 52-12. Michigan State lost. They're scoring just 17 points per game on the season. After opening the season with 5 straight losses, Penn State's won 27-17 in Michigan, 23-7 at Rutgers, starting to, turn their season around here at the end of it. John Ryan, you've capped these teams. We've been hammering them nonstop, and you watch Penn State very, very closely. What do you feel here, John? Penn State 15.5-point favorites. The indicator books have moved that to 16.5, and this total at 46.5 or 46.
Well, it's now become 2 teams heading in opposite directions. They've put the 0-5 start which was probably the worst. It is the worst start and the most difficult season Penn State's ever had. They've rebounded really well here with 2 straight wins. A freshman running back has emerged in Lee, who ran for 95 last week against Rutgers, and I think it was 125 the week before against Michigan. And it's definitely a different tone now at Penn State. The defense held Rutgers to 0 or negative yards on 45% of the plays. So, I like to dig really deep and find some nuggets that are worthwhile. And the first thing I thought, if Parsons was on this defense, can you imagine what this could have been? But, could have, would have, should have club doesn't get you even a subway token around here. But I think Penn State here is clearly the play. Michigan State is done. They have a new head coach. It's not working well. We got to get rid of COVID, have a preseason for these kids to practice next year, and we'll get back to some kind of normalcy in college football and all sports. But I like Penn State a lot.
John Ryan liking Penn State a lot. DJ, Big Boss, Michigan State, Penn State.
Hey, this is one right here where you gotta think. This is a fight. Can you believe that you could say at this point in the season that we got a bum fight out of Penn State and Michigan State? Man, the Big Ten is stinking it up real bad, man. But in this bum fight right here, you're supposed to take the home team. I'm not sure about the 15 points, though. That's a lot of points to be laying out in a bum fight. But you got to go with the home team on this one. Defense a little better over here on Penn State. Michigan State coming off a shadankin. Who knows in a COVID year like this, what kind of mindset they have reaching almost to the end of the season. A lot of teams, those college players, they throw in the towel. They already got their stuff packed to go to the next place and all that good stuff. So if you had to do it, think. This is at 15 for a reason. Take Penn State minus the points.
John and Big Boss on Penn State. Let's see what Ragoo has to say.
I initially had to lean Penn State here, but the way the steam's coming Penn State's way and the breakdowns I'm hearing, and I look and I had them capped by, at least like 13.5, 14. So they're right at that number. But the more I look at it, the more I think I'm liking Penn State here. I mean, here's a key thing for Michigan State, which they're a hot mess offensively speaking, defensive speaking. They had a couple bright spots, but they went dim pretty quick. And their quarterback Lombardi, he's not very accurate, and they can't put the ball in the receiver's hands. They can't run the ball, so they're a big mess. And Penn State is kind of making a little progress, like John said. So I think this is going to be a send-off game for them to close things out. I think Penn State rolls in this spot, and I will get to the window with Penn State here, laying the 15, 14.5.
Come on, guys. Group hug. We all agree on something for a change. Group hug, guys.
I wanted to ask you, with the Rutgers game last week, I gave you the address to send those IPAs for me, and I haven't gotten them yet.
Oh, man, I sent them with a pack of condoms because you lay a lot of wood. So just be expecting them to come in anytime soon.
Okay, I'll be on the lookout. Yep, thanks, man.
Let's talk about the Rutgers spot here. Rutgers, Maryland next up. Rotation number 393, 394. Rutgers 2-5 in the Big Ten. Maryland 2-2 in the Big Ten. Maryland Stadium, College Park, Maryland. 54 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 5 miles per hour. Rutgers coming off the 23-7 loss at home to Penn State. Maryland had his 2-game winning streak snapped in a 27-11 loss at Indiana. This total sitting at 58. It opens with Maryland at -7. That's down to 6.5. Big Ragoo, Rutgers, Maryland, Big Ten action. You have a feel here?
Yeah, I do, a little bit. I like what Rutgers is able to do offensively at times. If they can just keep the interceptions, put down, Verdal, he's like a 63% completion, 1,200 yards. He's got 9 TDs. They just need to take care of the football here. I think Maryland, with Baby Tua, he's got some turnover issues also. He's getting a lot of love. Probably some backing here in that spot. But like you said, the numbers kind of tick down a little bit. I think equally both quarterbacks. I don't see any advantage one way or the other. But I kind of like the ragtag, like my boy DJ says. You got a bunch of these transfers that kind of come together, and maybe or I wouldn't say gelling, but they're playing a lot better possibly. And I think this is a nice spot to grab Rutgers here. I would like to get to 7. I'm going to be on this game one way or the other, so I'm probably going to bet it before it goes down to 6. And I might even buy the half a point to get to 7, or maybe even do a little sprinkle on that spot. I think this is a game that Rutgers can win.
Rutgers 6.5-point dogs on the road. John Ryan, what do you think of Rutgers this week?
Well, I think they're in trouble against this matchup. Maryland, not many people realize the talent that they have at wide receiver, and it has shown in games this year. The one that comes to mind is the blowout win against Penn State, where they just shredded that secondary. And Rutgers secondary is, it's a project in motion where they're going to build for the next couple of years under the return of Shiano, which is all positive. But in this matchup, you can bet that Maryland is going to be throwing some big vertical routes, crossing patterns, some of those rub plays, which used to be called pick plays, which are illegal, but now they're called rub plays, so they are legal. And I like Maryland because of that reason. Rutgers has given up more than 30 points in all but 2 games. They gave up 23 to Illinois and then 23 to Penn State last week. I don't think that's a sign that their defense is getting better.
Big Boss, Rutgers, Maryland. We have Ragoo and John on opposite sides.
I don't know, John. I smell some recency bias through the camera right here. I don't know what you got against Rutgers, man, but I totally agree with Big Ragoo saying about Rutgers and the players coming together and gelling. All that good stuff about Rutgers. I like it. And initially I wanted to jump in this game because of that. But when I ran the numbers, these two teams' numbers sit right by each other. So pretty similar teams in the two. And Maryland's got Tua over there. And sometimes he can get a little active for the camera and stuff like that. So and the number 6.5 is a funny number, right? That means like maybe a touchdown or something. It's a funny number. So I'm off the side in that one. But after looking at it for a little while, it looked like the play might be on the total in this one, and I like the over.
Liking the over in Rutgers, Maryland. Interesting. I will jot that down. Okay, let's keep rolling. We're going to drop into the MAC for a couple games here and then get right back to more Big Ten action here. So we move on to rotation number 399, 400, Western Michigan, Ball State. Ball State opening up as 3-point favorites at Bet365. Again, we talk about the licensed legal American sports books here. That's who we use. And Bet365 opening up at 3. And then quickly turning into a pick'em. Schumann Stadium, Muncie, Indiana, Western Michigan, Ball State. Western Michigan 4-1 in the MAC. Ball State 4-1 in the MAC, 56 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy. We're dealing with some wind, 18 miles per hour. Western Michigan had its 4-game winning streak snapped in a surprise 53-42 home loss to Eastern Michigan. And we'll talk about Eastern Michigan in the next game. They're home to Northern Illinois. Eastern Michigan was a 13.5-point dog when they surprised Western Michigan 53-42. But Western Michigan putting up 44.6 points per game. Ball State has now won 4 straight games after their impressive 45-20 win at Central Michigan. Ball State rolling, but looks like the market expects a Western Michigan bounce back. John Ryan, we're in the MAC here. Western Michigan, Ball State, what do you think?
Well, I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. No question about it. I would lean towards Ball State here. I think they're the better team, and they're playing at home. This is offset by the fact that in the last 10 years, in their last home game of the season, they're 3-7. So that doesn't bode all that well for Ball State, but that's just one metric of many. Supporting Western Michigan here is head coach of Ball State is 4-17 after playing a game where 60 total points or more were scored. And that sort of doesn't work well for Western Michigan. So I got a bunch of malarkey supporting both teams, and that causes me to pass.
DJ Big Boss, Maction here, Western Michigan, Ball State.
I put this game in my 1,000-miler category right here because these guys are going to go for many yards in this game because both of them do over 270 yards passing. Some of them giving up 200 and some yards passing on defense. So nothing but score right here. And I'm a little late to the party on these Macs over, but you can go check them. The Mac runs a lot of overs. This one might go 90 points.
This total's fallen off. Open at 71. Now all the way down to 65. And you think maybe it's at 18 mile per hour wind here. Ragoo, Western Michigan, Ball State.
Yeah, this was a classic matching game, Jim. That was my first look, and then, like you said, with the weather update, the winds definitely going to affect some of the offensive downfield plays, obviously. But and then I had a small lean on Western Michigan here. I think their offense is set up a little bit better than Ball State is. But initially, I had the over, so I'm off of that now. So my only look here would be maybe Western Michigan laying the point. So I think offensively, defensively they're pretty close. Their numbers are real similar. Offensively too, but I think that they have a little bit better of the scoring opportunity. You know, they're able to put few more points on the board than Ball State. Even though Ball State's playing some good football right now, but I think Western Michigan's suited better to outscore them. Maybe that extra touchdown or field goal. It'd be an interesting game. I don't know. 70 is a lot of points, though, man, especially in the wind. We'll see what happens.
Well, let's go right back to we're going to stay in the MAC. We have Northern Illinois 0-5 on the season. They were a team that we planned on attacking this year. They started the year with 63 freshmen on the roster. 0-5 in the MAC at Eastern Michigan, 1-4 in the MAC. Rynearson Stadium, Ypsilanti, Michigan. 52 Fahrenheit rain, but this is one of a few spots on the board where the rain ends early. And I'm not sure how early, but I expect it to possibly be gone, within the first, if not at the beginning of the game, within the first 30 minutes of the game. But we do have wind, 15 miles per hour. Northern Illinois coming off its fifth straight loss to start the season, 41-24 loss at home to Toledo. And we just said Eastern Michigan got their first win of the season as 13.5-point dog, 53-42 at Western Michigan. Ragoo, Maction, Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan.
I'm not going to steal a line from my guy, but I'm going to steal it. Bum fight. Bum fight. 0-5 versus 1-5. 23 points a game is where Northern Illinois is at, and the defense is giving up like 38, 31 points, for the Eagles. I mean, a big win last week coming off of that Western Michigan game. They're giving up over like 250 yards on the ground and 250 in the air. So it just – I don't know which way to go. This is a garbage game. I'm not even going to crack open an IPA for this one. I'm just going to pass it over to John.
John, Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan.
Well, let's see. Northern Illinois is giving up an average of 38.2 points per game, and Eastern Michigan's trying to catch them. They're allowing 36.6 points per game. So logic dictates that this should be a high-scoring affair. And one thing I wanted to mention, I actually started collecting data to put in the database, and I know you guys are going to think I'm nuts, and maybe I am. But I've been collecting weather data for past games to really assess what wind does to betting lines and what the results are. And the one thing I can tell you is that when we have weather conditions like this, it's really prudent to do like half your bet and then use the live in-game betting. So let's say in this particular game, the weather hasn't cleared out of the area and they get off to a slow, sluggish start, even by the standards of these two teams. And you see that total crash another 6 to 10 points, that's when you want to hammer the over. And I've seen that happen quite a bit this year where you're going contrary to the trend. There was one that Jimmy and I think were texting back and forth, that Tulsa game that was 0-0. And I managed to get the game total at 23.5 when the beginning of the game it was 58. And the final score was 53 total points. It almost went over. So, use that to your advantage. Because I think with these weather-related games where the total's already dropped like 6, 7, 8 points from the opening, you have a great opportunity.
Yeah, I know it's a very important insight. And you got that total, I think, at like 23.
Yeah, it's 23.5. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one.
Unbelievable. Big Boss, let's put a bow on the action for this point in the show. Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, a big Ragoo already know what I got to say about this game. So follow the rules and act accordingly. Take the home team in the bum fight. They're already favored, minus a weird number like 5.5 or something like that. So go for it. Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, that's gone from 4.5 to 6.5. I feel like it might be a little late to the party. I can understand. I wonder if Eastern Michigan.
If you're thinking 4.5 or 6.5, Jimmy, what you gonna get? If it's either 5 or 7, I mean that's it's be a weird number to be stuck with a 5. You got to get 7 anyway. You're taking the home team in a bum fight, so you got to drop the 7. And it's late in the season, so they might just try to run off the field with a win. So go ahead, don't overthink this stuff, man. That's what they want us to do. Overthink it. Don't overthink this. Lay your balls on the table, drop your money in the bag, and go have an IPA with John.
Yeah, that's it, man. As long as you're buying.
All right, let's move on to more Big Ten action. Minnesota 2-3 in the Big Ten, and Nebraska 2-4 in the Big Ten. I got Minnesota plus 9.5 at minus 105. Wow! And I was about to say, should have waited because it was 10.5, but it is now 8.5. And I can feel good about where I got it. That's a nice relief. Memorial Stadium, Lincoln, Nebraska, cold, 33 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 12 miles per hour. Due to positive COVID cases, we haven't seen Minnesota since their second win in 3 games, 34-31 at home over Purdue on November 20th. Nebraska hasn't missed a game in this difficult season, coming off 37-27 win at Purdue. Both teams come in with suspect defenses. Minnesota allowing 34.8 points per game. Nebraska allowing 31.7 points per game. This was a Connor Mack bet, and I believe, John, you also pushed me in this direction with Minnesota. We'll start with you, John. Big Ten, Minnesota, Nebraska.
Well, I just think it's too many points here. Nebraska is a young team, and Coach Frost has said some things in the press conference that he's pleased with the development of his younger players despite a very trying season. And it did start to sound like there's good losses in the game of football, which I don't believe there are. But he went on to say that the team is a work in progress. That to me also means that maybe they're ready to throw up the white flag. Not saying they're not going to try in this game, of course, but if you're a tenth of a second slower than you normally are off the snap, that's huge at the Division I and NFL levels. We see it all the time. So it's not saying they're not trying hard. It's just that the motivation and the passion and having something to play for is gone. And Minnesota has just been a train wreck along with other Big Ten teams, as DJ pointed out earlier. But in this case, getting double digits with Minnesota, I would rather lose money with Minnesota than putting it on Nebraska.
Big Boss, we are on Minnesota here. What do you think of this spot in the Big Ten?
I don't know, man. This Big Ten is disgusting, man. I don't know if the 8. I don't know if the 8 means they're gonna kick their ass and buy a lot, or if the 8 means maybe we was trying to get the public to bet it down a little bit. So the number really kicks me off the game. But one thing has been ugly in the Big Ten is defense, and both of them are letting over 30 points a game on defensive side of the ball. So with that being said, it looks like another over in the making. I would say I haven't really checked yet, but if it's a primetime game, if they plan on ESPN or where a lot of people can see, definitely expect an over in this one.
Yeah, the market's moving in that direction. Open at 59, now it's 60.5. There are 61s out there. Ragoo, Big Ten, Minnesota, Nebraska.
I got the better the number. I bet 10.5 early on this, and I also put a little sprinkle on the money line with Minnesota at plus 300. I just think with the tandem of Abraham, the running back, he's like one of the leading rushers in the nation. He's averaging 163 yards a game. I think Nebraska is going to be up against it to stop him. But same thing goes for Minnesota's defense. They're not setting the world on fire, but I just think the more experienced offense of Minnesota and the better talent on that side of the ball too, I don't see Nebraska, winning by margin here, especially 10.5 where we bet it early. But I just think, the experience, and Frost is a favorite. He's been a favorite 9 times since leaving Orlando. He's 2-7 ATS in Lincoln. So give me the better team, the better talent, the better stats. Give me Minnesota plus the points.
Let's stay in the Big Ten. We head over to Ryan Field, Evanston, Illinois. For Illinois at Northwestern. Illinois 2-4 in the Big Ten at number 14th ranked Northwestern, 5-1 in the Big Ten, 40 Fahrenheit, chance of showers, and we are dealing with the wind, 17 miles per hour. This is our last game on the 12 p.m. slate. The wind affecting the total opens up at 45 down to 41. Northwestern 13.5-point favorites, been there all week. Illinois had their minus 2-game winning streak snapped in a 35-21 home loss to Iowa. Northwestern had their impressive 5-game winning streak to start the season snapped in a 29-20 loss at Michigan State. Let's go right back to Ragoo here. Big Ten action, Illinois, Northwestern.
I think this pace is going to be a slow type of pace game, obviously, with, the type of game that Northwestern plays. They feast off their defense. And they like to pound the ball. They're a throwback, an old school Big Ten team. And Illinois, they don't have a lot going offensively to speak about. 2-4 versus 5-1. I think the biggest thing for the Illinois is going to be, trying to establish a run game against this tough Illinois or Northwestern defense. And I don't see them having much success here. I mean, are they going to be 2 touchdowns better? 13.5, 13.5, 14. I'm seeing 13.5 at the major markets. So I think they'll get there. I think they'll get the double digits. Whether they get there by anything stronger than 14, to me, the way I cap this game is right at the number. I come up with 31-17. Maybe we'll fall as 31-14 if you get lucky. But I don't see a ton of points here either way, and then it's indicative of the total. You're looking at 39.5. Come on. I mean, so if the score's 31-17, then it's going to correlate. If you like the over, then you got to like Illinois. If you like the under, you like Northwestern.
Interesting. Big Boss, Illinois, Northwestern.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be taking a Big Ten game right here, but if I had to lay the woods, in the words of John Ryan, I'm going to lean on the side of Northwestern with the defense. Defense has been awesome, and they haven't really played like no chumps. They played pretty much the thick of the Big Ten, and they did well. This team is I think a little below the radar, but definitely on the rise. So I go ahead and lay the points with them in this one and take Northwestern.
John Ryan, put a bow on the 12 p.m. card for us here, Illinois, Northwestern.
I like Illinois, and I'll tell you why. Northwestern is going to be playing in the Big Ten championship game, and that's a certainty. And I guess from what we read in the news, the Big Ten is going to change their rules, and it'll be against Ohio State, which I think is a good thing. Indiana's had a great season, but are they deserving to be in the Big Ten championship game because Ohio State didn't get the 6 games played? Ohio State beat them. So even if Ohio State played that game and lost, they would still have the tiebreaker. So I have to wonder what Northwestern is going to be bringing to the game, knowing that it essentially doesn't matter the result. So getting 2 touchdowns with an Illinois team that is been very good against not against the run, but on the run. I mean, I didn't even know this myself until I saw it early in the week that Illinois' running game has gained the most rushing yards in the Big Ten. They're second in rushing yards per game, only second to Ohio State. Northwestern has a good run defense, but this might be a matchup where, if Northwestern is thinking about the championship game, they could get caught napping. So I would take Illinois here if I had to bet it.
See, I'm gonna disagree though, Jimmy. Maybe John's over there sipping a little too many IPAs, man, because you can't be looking in a short year like this at a team looking at going into a championship game thinking anything's going to be on easy street. Everything in the Big Ten is shaky because of the amount of games that they're playing. So not only do they have to play, but they have to play well to even get a decent bowl game or anything. If you look at it financially wise, a team like Northwestern is in their best interest right now to make a big impression in this game, so they can try to end up in the Big Six game where they get the big gift bags. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you can look at it. You know, and I've been finding myself in the same thing. And if this was a traditional season, everything you saying right now would definitely apply. But in a season like this, nobody's looking past any games or anything like that. You know, only person that's really safe right now is Notre Dame. But you know, everybody else really in Alabama, shall I say? But you know, Clemson on the outskirts is you know, they fighting for their life. Ohio State's gonna be fighting for their life. Everybody's fighting for their life to get in the playoffs, and which leaves the top 6 games wide open. But then you got teams like Coastal Carolina and BYU and all that kind of stuff like that. It's a rough fight for everybody if you look at the big picture. So I don't think I like Northwestern a lot in here. It's a lot of points to lay. I'm sure they're gonna win, but winning big should be in their thing, not just winning just to keep going though.
Oh, it's great stuff. Very, very interesting back and forth there. Let's move on to 1 p.m. action here. Our man, Robert Cherry, in the house. Let's let him lead us into it. Robert Cherry says, I got UAB -7. They will crush Rice. UAB we haven't seen for a long time. They opened up as 9-point favorites. They're now 7. The leading indicator books have said it's going to go down to 6.5. This total opened up at 44.5. Now at 43.5. UAB 4-3, 2-1 in Conference USA. Rice 2-2, 2-2 in Conference USA. Rice Stadium, Houston, Texas, 65 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. UAB hasn't played since Halloween due to positive COVID cases in the program. Last seen losing their second straight in a 37-34 loss to Louisiana Tech in double overtime. And then we have Rice coming off the big shutout of Marshall. Let's go. We don't need to spend too much time on these games if you want to keep moving past them. We'll start with Big Ragoo here. UAB Rice, anything for you?
I'm still shaking my head after the Marshall game last week. I mean, where the hell did this Rice team come from? You know what? This Rice team has kicked my ass year after year, and they're not going to do it to me again today because I'm not going to back them, but I'm not going to bet on them either. But I will break the game down for you just a little bit. So Rice's defense, I mean, look what they did to Marshall last week. They played these tough teams that try to muscle them around, and they show up and they play in these games. Offensively, they're not really equipped, but whatever they did, you know, keeping Marshall pinned back all last week on their side of the field was pretty damn impressive. And now you got a team that's coming off rest, or I should say rest, coming off, you know, protocol, whatever. They haven't been on the field in a while. I don't know. I think Rice's defense is pretty damn good, and I think UAB is going to be up against it. They're not just going to walk around and take this game away from Rice, but I don't see UAB clobbering them either. I think it's going to come down to a one-score game either way. And don't be surprised if Rice doesn't win this game.
Yeah, it's so tricky capping a team we haven't seen since Halloween. Big Boss, anything for you here, UAB Rice?
Another one of those stay off, folks. Too many variables. Don't know what happened specifically in the Rice Marshall game for it to become so lopsided. You got a UAB team coming off a rest. I mean, variables are just high in there. You know, if anything, sprinkle money on the money line is the biggest value you can get.
John Ryan, UAB Rice.
Well, I got 3 trends I'll mention that support Rice, and the guy in the chat room that predicted the blowout. Rice is 29-9 against the number as a home underdog of 7 or more points. They are 15-3 in home games off a win by 10 points or more to a conference foe. And they are 26-5, which is pretty darn good in home games following a game in which they had a turnover margin of +2 or better. So turnovers, you know, rear their face again. So I don't really know why Rice is getting so many points.
Yeah, it still feels like I might be just too late to the party here. If I could have got the 9 possible. All right, let's move on to 2:30 p.m. Maction here. Akron at Buffalo, 1-4 in the MAC. Buffalo 4-0 in the MAC, just dominating teams. UB Stadium, Buffalo, New York, 53 Fahrenheit, rain, 11 miles per hour. Akron coming off their first win since 2018, 31-3 at home over Bowling Green. Buffalo had last week's game canceled due to positive COVID cases in the Ohio program. They were last seen a 70-41 win at home over Kent State. They're scoring 50.8 points per game. A little action here. Let's go to DJ Big Boss. Anything interest you here, Akron, Buffalo?
Looks like the Alabama of the MAC right here with Buffalo. Couldn't set the spread high enough for people, so you have to take Buffalo and them. But Akron coming off of that win, they jumping up and down. So, but that might have been, the season highlight for them. So this Buffalo team should be much more hungry from sitting on the sideline, having to watch everybody play one weekend. I'm sure they're excited to hit the field. I say hit Buffalo and hit them early. First half Buffalo.
33-point favorites full game. If you want Buffalo first half, you will get them at 20.5, although the indicator books are at 19, but it's 19, 19.5, 20, 20.5. The 19's quite juiced. John Ryan, Akron, Buffalo.
I've been riding Buffalo all season, but I can't do it here. It's just, it's just not a good betting opportunity. There's a lot more games. I'd rather bet on a college basketball game than bet on this one, to be honest with you. So, Buffalo put up 70 against Kent State. Could they put up more than that against Akron?
Sure can.
I'm going to be interested to see what the final score is for sure. And Buffalo is 7-3 in their last home game of the season, the last 10 seasons. So that works in their favor as well. But I'm a pass.
Big Ragoo, Akron, Buffalo.
I'm going to pass right by the bank and deposit in this game. Buffalo first half and Buffalo full game. You got a lot of 1s and 2s with Buffalo here, even though they're playing in the MAC. It doesn't matter. It's opponent efficient, however they match up here. Number 1 in scoring offensive, number 2 in rushing offense, number 10 in total offense nationwide, and Akron, like John was saying, he got me on that game. We were opposite ends. And I'm not going to call it revenge because I'm going after Akron because I can give, two what's about Akron. But today I do care about Akron as far as taking their money. And Buffalo gets the job done with ease. This is a 50-point victory for the MAC for Buffalo. Take them first half and full game and don't look back.
Wow. And our Nutflush Allen agreeing. First half, first quarter, full game. Wow. Okay, we move on to 3 p.m. We get the chance to watch number 13th ranked Coastal Carolina back in action. 10-0 on the season, 7-0 in the Sun Belt at Troy, 5-5, 3-3 in the Sun Belt Veterans Memorial Stadium. Troy, Alabama, 69 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Coastal Carolina coming off a giant 22-17 win at home over BYU. Troy snapped their 3-game winning streak with a 29-0 shutout of South Alabama. Let's just move over here. Coastal Carolina opening up as 6.5-point favorites, now 7-point favorites. Let's go to DJ Big Boss. We cashed on Coastal Carolina last week, double-digit dogs. They win outright. Are you interested in them here as 7-point favorites against Troy?
Right back on at them right now. I don't think it's 7 points, is it, Jimmy? I think it's 13, right? 13.5?
Oh, shit, I'm looking at first half again. My fault, sorry. Moved to the Buffalo first half. Thank you. Good point. Thank you, Big Boss. Yeah, what am I talking about? 13.5, opened at 14. Take it away.
But, I already spoke about this. There's no letting up off the gas in a year like this one. Coastal Carolina down at the finish line. Why let off the gas here? Why do anything different than you've been doing before? You new to this Sun Belt division. You did what you're supposed to do all season, and you got in this spot. Have fun and whoop the out of Troy if you can, for sure. So the 13.5, 14, whatever, it doesn't scare me. Coastal Carolina is marking their foot in the sand. Troy's a good team. They play some little above average defense over there in the Sun Belt, but we've already, and it's funny to me that the line's not even higher because they've doubted Coastal Carolina in every matchup that they had all year. App State, BYU, you name it, they played them to the side. And here they are all the way at the end of the season playing them to the side again with a 13.5. I think this game could be a blowout right here. It should have been like 17, somewhere up in there. So I'm all for Coastal Carolina in this one. Also, because it's two teams that do play a little bit of defense, Troy's only way to stopping Coastal Carolina is going to be to stop them on defense. They can't go blow for blow with them, especially if McCall's playing. But I like the under as well.
Also on the under, interesting take. Let's go to John Ryan, Coastal Carolina, Troy.
DJ and Big Ragoo both have great points about Coastal Carolina, and I think they get through the finish line as well. Grayson McCall has gotten the headlines this year. He's thrown for almost 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, and just one pick. That's the amazing thing, one pick. They also have what I call a three-headed monster in running backs. Running back by committee, call it what you will. But all this week, at least from the things that I've been researching and listening to, everybody's talking about the Troy defense and that this is a trap game for Coastal Carolina. And like my two colleagues said, I mean, how in the world can this be a trap game when there's still a lot on the line here? And it's a magical season. They've attained probably the biggest win last week in Sun Belt history. No other Sun Belt team has ever been ranked this high. So why would they take their foot off the gas pedal, like DJ Big Boss says? The implied final score based on the lines is 33-30. And we all know that I love that 28-point pivot level. So I'm going to tell you what the Chanticleers are when they score 28 or more. They're 7-1 this season, 14-2-1 last three seasons, 19-3-1 since 2011. So if you're going to bet this game, I'm on Coastal Carolina already.
Whew. All right, Ragoo, both Boss and John liking Coastal Carolina. What do you think here?
Well, John's already said I like Coastal Carolina, so I got to agree with him. I just my only question mark here would be with Coastal. They keep rising to the occasion, big game after big game, and making the plays. McCall is playing lights out at QB. The offense is lighting it up. And they're making all the key plays when they have to. But the thing, Troy, they come off a nice win up for South Alabama. They blanked them. They're not going to blank this team, obviously. But my only question would be here, if Troy doesn't get the ball going offensively, where they're like towards the bottom in FBS and rushing, they're averaging like just cracking 100 yards per game, and that's not going to get the job done against this monster of a team. So yeah, I'm on board. It's a clean sweep for me. I'm Coastal all the way.
There you go. Group hug, guys. Group hug.
Okay, let's keep rolling. And we don't need to spend because we do want to spend some time on some of the later games. So if there's a game you want to go quickly through, don't feel pressure. Central Michigan 3-2 in the MAC at Toledo, 3-2 in the MAC Glass Bowl. Toledo, Ohio, 54 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, and dealing with 20-mile-per-hour winds. This total still quite elevated. Opened at 55, just down to 54. We've seen the other games with 17 and 20-mile-an-hour winds drop 4 and 5 points. Not here. Toledo opening up as 11-point favorites, and that's where they stand right now. Central Michigan coming off their second loss in 3 games, ugly 45-20 loss at home to Ball State. Toledo bounced back from its 27-24 home loss to Ball State by winning at Northern Illinois 41-24. John Ryan, anything for you here in the MAC?
No, I don't have anything other than a reminder to, if you like the over in this game, then you let the game start with the weather conditions the way they are and take advantage of any slow start by either team. These are, by MAC standards, these two teams actually play half decent defense. So maybe that's why the total is in the low 50s, which is, it's like an SEC game lined at 40. So I don't have a feel for it.
DJ Big Boss, anything for you here in the MAC, Central Michigan, Toledo?
This is another 1,000-miler right here. We expecting 500 yards on each side of the ball, so nowhere to go with those games but over for me. And it's the MAC anyway, so you might as well lean over. But not the best interesting game to get involved with. overall, but if you had to play it, I'd take it over.
Ragoo, Central Michigan, Toledo.
Yeah, I think the numbers are right where they need to be on both on the side and the total here. But I would lean towards the over versus the to the side. I think it has the capability to sneak over this game.
We're going to go right back to Ragoo here for Navy Army. Army opening up as 5.5-point favorites. That's moved up to 7.5. This total dropped from 40.5 down to 36.5. Army hosts Navy for the first time in 77 years due to COVID-19. We're in West Point, New York, 35 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 6 miles per hour. Navy 3-6 on the season. Army 7-2. Navy coming off its fourth straight loss, 19-6 at home to Tulsa. Army bounced back from an ugly 38-12 loss at Tulane by beating Georgia Southern 28-27. Big Ragoo, Navy, Army.
This game's all about respect. It is every year. Both teams know each other. There's no surprise. You're not going to get any surprises in this game. Last year, I bet the over, and it was a drop pass in the end zone. There was a penalty, a holding that pulled the touchdown back. So you gotta lean always towards the unders in these games if they're around 40 points. I know we're probably sitting 39.5, somewhere in that number.
36.5. It's been a big season.
36.5. We'll see even more so now. Okay, so missed the opportunity there. But anyways, here's the game. This is an IPA game for sure. Multiple IPAs. I just love so much respect for these kids, what they do, the product, what they're trying to. This is going to be probably the last game that 99% of them play their life. And this is a game I just like to kind of kick back and watch, with the hope and intentions that they both play a solid football game and respect to the kids.
Yeah, I always year in year out, I love you capping Navy, Army.
And it's a game that should be played on a day by itself, but unfortunately, with what's going on, it's not. But anyways, the pageantry, all the accolades to the kids playing the game, and I would lean to the under. Even with the 36.5, I was still leaning to the under.
Big Boss, Navy, Army.
We know I don't really care for the military games, but recently I heard some crazy stat. I can't even remember it all the way, but they say all the military games versus each other is like 20-something and 9 or something like that to the under. And soon as I was about to say, yeah, that's a good spot, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. This 36.5 still spooks me in this game right here. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and keep my money in my pocket, but I'm gonna keep an eye on that under in the military game. That's almost like Alabama first half. I got to jump on that train at some point in the race.
Hey, take the dog. If you think it's 36.5, let's say that's 2017. The dog cashes, right? So
yeah. That's an interesting look. John Ryan, you have anything for Navy, Army?
I can help DJ a little bit here. The Army-Navy game, the last 28 times they have played it is 20-8 to the under, with 14 in a row being to the under. We're at a level below 40, obviously. 2 years ago it was 38.5. All the rest of them are 45 and higher. Believe it or not, in 2014, the total was 56, and the final score was 17-10 Navy. It's just impossible. Like your natural reaction to this is like, oh my God, 14 unders in a row, they're due to go over. Well, no, they're not. It's a matchup that has stood the test of time, and it would be really hard to bet the under, but I would not be surprised if that under comes through for a 15th straight time.
Wow. Okay, we're going to move on to 3:30 p.m. games. I want to kind of move through them a little bit quicker just so we can spend a little bit more time on the later games. So I know they're big games, though, so I don't want to rush you guys. We're going to start with number 22, Oklahoma State, 6-3, 5-3 in the Big 12 at Baylor, 2-6 in the Big 12, McLean Stadium, Waco, Texas, 59 Fahrenheit, sunny, 6 miles per hour. Oklahoma State opening up as 5-point favorites. That's now 5.5. The indicator books have said it will go to 6. This total at 51, now down to 49.5 or 49. Oklahoma State has lost 2 of 3, 3 of 5. They're coming off a 29-22 loss at TCU. Baylor coming off their 6th loss in 7 games, 27-14 setback at Oklahoma. Big 12 action here. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Where did the Baylor offense go? Ranked 108th. I tell you where it went. It went to North Carolina with Matt Rule. That's where it went. But Charlie Brewer is still around, but they're not doing things right in Waco. They got some issues there. This number seems awful cheap at 5 for a a Baylor team that's struggling. I had Oak State to kind of maybe make a chance, make a play at the conference championship early in the year. I made a little futures bet there. I don't know if we're going to get to the window with that, obviously, but I think the thing is the Cowboys will give up some passing yards here, but with Baylor's offense, I don't see that happening. So I just think this game is suited for the taking for a ranked Oak State team to come into Waco and walk away with a victory. I would definitely lean hard on Oak State. I didn't bet it yet, but that's the way I'm looking. So I don't think Baylor's going to generate enough offense to keep up with Oak State in this spot.
I agree with that take. Interesting. Let's see what DJ Big Boss has to say. Oklahoma State, Baylor.
I've been shying away from Baylor. You like we spoke at the beginning. The coaching change it's been taking its effect all year. We don't know which way to go. I really liked Oklahoma State because they play some tough defense early in the season, but we've seen that defense can get busted up here and there. So I don't really trust either side or anything in here. So I'm off.
Jay Kaiser saying Oklahoma State has almost quit. Be careful. Baylor playing a lot better. John Ryan, anything for you here, Oklahoma State, Baylor?
Yeah, on the heels of that statement, I actually like Baylor in this situation to bounce back. You have Oklahoma State that's lost 5 consecutive times to the spread. And much like we've used the analogy with Wall Street, a stock that keeps going down and down and down is trying to find an equilibrium. It doesn't mean that it's bottomed. And I don't think Oklahoma State has bottomed, and this is a shot for Baylor, despite their offensive problems, to bounce back. And supported by a betting system to bet on dogs of 3 to 10 points. Their average offensive team scoring 21 to 28 a game and are coming off a game where they only scored 3 or fewer points in the first half. And now they're facing a team that's a pretty decent offensive team for the season, averaging 28 to 35 points per game, and with the game occurring in the second half of the season. So quite a few parameters there, but I think it makes sense. And this time of year, you guys know it. I love the contrarian stuff.
Yeah, I guess that'll just keep me off of it.
Hey, I'm gonna draw the line right here, though, John Ryan. We could talk about woods, but we're not gonna talk about bottoms.
Let's go right back to John Ryan here. Wisconsin, Iowa. This was an interesting spot. I'm on Iowa. We moved on Iowa after the Monday game, and we got them at a pick 'em. So minus 110 on the money line. It opened up Iowa minus 3. It's now flipped to Wisconsin minus 2 or minus 2.5. Very interesting. Kinnick Stadium, Iowa City, Iowa. 34 Fahrenheit, snow showers, 12 miles per hour is the wind. This total's gone from 44 down to 41.5 or 41. Wisconsin coming off their second straight loss, 14-6 at home to Indiana. They've only managed 13 points combined over their last 2 games. Iowa's now won 5 straight since opening the season with 2 losses, coming off a 35-21 win at Illinois. We cashed on that. Iowa minus 13.5, cashed by just that half point. John Ryan, what do you think? Are you still confident in Iowa watching this market move?
I am. I think I love the contrarian move, to be honest with you. Because that means that the public money is back in Wisconsin. And I said on Monday's show, I don't think Wisconsin is the traditional team that it's been for the last decade. There's certain teams, you mentioned Wisconsin, you think big offensive line, big running game, and solid defense. And they haven't shown any of that this year. Iowa has. So, for all the reasons I outlined Monday, I like Iowa even more.
Like Iowa even more. DJ Big Boss, what do you think here, Wisconsin, Iowa?
Now, this is the only Big Ten game that brought a smile to my face. And early in the week, it made so much sense to take Iowa when they were the favorite. But now that it's flipped the other side, I still haven't figured out where that come from. Only thing I can see is that Wisconsin defense gives up like 12 points, but Iowa defense gives up like 17 points. But I mean, what is both of those doesn't tell you nothing, but they play good defense. So the under is definitely in play in this one, but it's a really low number. But Wisconsin unders have been even hitting at a low number this year. But this Wisconsin team was a overrated team. They still overrated Iowa. If Wisconsin was having a good season, I still would be leaning Iowa plus the points to upset Wisconsin season. The only thing that I've come up to think about why the line flip is because people may be thinking that this is Wisconsin's chance to mess up Iowa's season, because usually Iowa comes in and tries to mess up Wisconsin's season. So other than that, I don't see no reason why to take Wisconsin in this one, offensively or defensively. So I would be riding Iowa all the way, and I'm almost to the window with it. I'm just gonna see what the market does a little more. I mean, plus 2.5 is good to take, but before I lock it in, I want to see just how volatile that line gets. If it gets close to game time and it flips back the other side, I'll probably still jump on it, but I don't know. I'm just gonna watch it a little bit before I play it.
Ragoo, what's your take here? Iowa City, Iowa.
I tend to agree with John as far as what Wisconsin's all about. I mean, they're giving up 229 yards a game, but what are they doing on offense? Absolutely nil. They can't run the ball. Mertz is not very good at putting the ball down the field. He's not good out of the pocket. So where the point's going to come from for Wisconsin. Iowa, on the other hand, they're a little bit more of a balanced team. Ferenc, he knows their scheme pretty well on the Wisconsin side of the ball. So I would definitely I haven't got to the window yet, but the play here would kind of like take DJ's approach maybe, and maybe you get up to 3 points, and probably I would probably take the money line on Wisconsin. If I was to play this, it would be Wisconsin money line and get the better value. I mean, Iowa money line, get the better value of the price.
I like it.
Let's stay with you here, Ragoo, for North Carolina, Miami. A little battle in the ACC. 17th ranked North Carolina, 6-3 in the ACC, 7-3 overall. Miami, 8-1 overall, 7-1 in the ACC. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida, 78 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 12 miles per hour. Miami opening up as 3.5-point favorites. That's moved to 3. This total's ballooned up from 66 to 70 or 70.5. North Carolina coming off their third win in 4 games. Easy 49-9 win over Western Carolina. Miami is coming off their 5th straight win, 48-0 at Duke. Ragoo, take it away, North Carolina, Miami.
Yeah, I missed the boat on the over on this one because that was my early recap was definitely on the over. You got 2 teams that can score better than 40 points here without ease. 2 teams on the defensive side that, believe it or not, have given up massive amount of yardage. Being that, the Canes, they 500 yards at Clemson, 400 to Louisville. I just think, and the same thing goes for the Tar Heels. They have struggled on the defensive side. But the key here is this is going to be a big game. They're both ranked in the teens. With Notre Dame and Clemson both sitting on the sidelines, whoever comes out of this game is probably looking at a decent bowl game. So this game has a lot of meaning in that regards. So I don't know. I just 8-1 versus 7-3 going up to Chapel Hill. Well, no, this is down in Miami. You said, right? This is the Miami game. I don't know. This is probably going to be like a last type of possession type score type game in my book. The numbers too. I'm not going to lay 70. With the over. Maybe there's some buyback on the under. I have to go back and look at that, but I think it's going to be a quick pace game. I think you're going to see a ton of offense, and the only way this game doesn't get down to the number or stays underneath is whether they have some red zone issues. But I don't see it. I think both teams are going to score in the 30s and 40s, and it can crack 70. But I don't have a play either way as far as the side goes. But I missed the boat on the total. I did like the total in the middle 60s.
We have Dennis Garcia and Steve Priest on Miami. Big Boss, let's try and keep it tight. I want to move on to the later games as fast as possible, but North Carolina, Miami.
I really wanted to jump in this game, but we're not sure which Miami team will show up. Sometimes Miami can be led by Derek King in the offense, and then sometimes the defense can come in and play its part too. North Carolina is explosive. They got some explosive offensive weapons. It could become a back and forth for a little while because North Carolina don't play much defense. So I like the over a lot, but looks like it's been bet up a little bit. And I don't know if I would take a contrarian play of the day. I'd go ahead and be contrarian right here and hope that Miami defense comes and plays one of their tough defensive games.
John Ryan, put a bow on the spot. ACC, North Carolina, Miami.
Real quickly, the Hurricanes have done one thing consistently on offense all year, and that's rush the ball for more than 40 times a game. And they have 3 running backs, again, a 3-headed monster that's 1,031 yards combined, 14 total touchdowns. and that can control the pace of play. So I don't have a bet on this, but I'm going to be watching the game to see how that pans out. If you keep UNC off the field, it's an easy under bet, but we'll see.
Let's stay with you here, John, in the American. Houston at Memphis. Houston opening up as 3-point favorites and now 5-point favorites. This total's come from 63, been around there all week now, 63.5. Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium, Memphis, Tennessee. Houston 3-3 on the year, 3-2 in the American. Memphis 6-3, 4-3 in the American. 56 Fahrenheit, sunny, 9 miles per hour. Houston's not been seen since November 14th due to positive COVID cases in the program. Bounced back from a 38-10 loss at Cincinnati by defeating USF 56-21. Memphis coming off 35-21 loss at Tulane that snapped their 3-game winning streak. John Ryan, anything for you here, Houston, Memphis?
I have absolutely nothing, Jimmy.
That's all good because I wanted to focus on the late games too, and we're at 11:23 right now. Big Boss, anything for you?
Nothing for me. I don't like that one.
Ragoo?
Pass.
All right, 4 p.m. action, and I would like to skip through these threes if we can quite quickly. Duke at Florida State, and Florida State opening up as 4-point favorites. They're now 3.5-point favorites. This total being around 57.5. It's actually squeaked down to 57 and 56.5. Doak Campbell Stadium, Tallahassee, Florida. Duke 2-8, 1-8 in the ACC. Florida State 2-6, 1-6 in the ACC. 71 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 10 miles per hour. Duke's defense falling apart, losses mounting. Coming off 48-0 loss at home to Miami. Florida State coming off its third straight loss, 38-22 at NC State. We're talking Florida State, so let's go to Big Ragoo. Anything for you here?
They've been real ugly in Tallahassee. Haven't played in a month. Duke is just as ugly, so it's a pass for me.
DJ Big Boss.
I see that we get Florida State right here at a good line, and I think the history between the two teams, Florida State kind of keeps their foot on Duke's neck, and this is like one of those games that we always beat these guys, even in a low year like Florida State's having right now. I think that they got a good chance against this Duke team.
John Ryan?
Well, Duke's never beaten Florida State in 20 times, so that stands to reason there. But I wouldn't. I don't know why Florida State's favored, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, stay away game. Let's go Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee. Tennessee 2-6 in the SEC. Vanderbilt 0-8 in the SEC. Nice weather for in comparison. 63 Fahrenheit, sunny, 9 miles per hour. Tennessee coming off 6 straight loss. 31-19 setback at home to Florida. Vandy coming off an ugly 41-0 loss at Missouri. Tennessee open up at 14-point favorites, now up to 15.5 with a total at 51. John Ryan, is this too high?
I think it is. But again, this is a game where you just don't know what's going to happen. Motivation is a key. I think there's been some opt-out on these teams too, if I'm right. But if I'm not, it's just a game I'm not interested in. And the only thing I can say, Jimmy, is that I do think it's way too many points, but that is irrelevant because I don't like the game.
Big Boss, anything for you?
Here we go. Another spot that 15 makes you think, like John Ryan said, way too many points, 2 touchdowns and some. But if you interpret it the other way, that they're saying not only are they going to beat them, but they're going to beat them bad just by adding a little extra point. Remember, the line setters could make us feel hot or cold with just a move of a half a point. So right here, that 15 spot tells me go ahead. This is going to be Tennessee Day to finally let their hair down and show they pretty dress, because it's been an ugly thing for them all year. And they playing against, what's that, Vanderbilt in conference, right? I mean, in-state rivalry right there or something like that.
Yeah.
This is a smart guys versus the thugs. Yeah. And the thugs need it bad right now. They need something to beat up on. So I think they take it to the cheeks over there on Vanderbilt.
I think they're called the Volunteers.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Ragoo?
Not much, Jimmy. Real quick, though, I'll just throw something at you. Tennessee, they recruited lights out. It didn't transfer on the field. I blame the quarterback and the coach basically for their demise this season. But it's if you like Vandy, you got to like the under. If you like Tennessee, you like the over. And, hey, maybe we'll get to see the girl kick an extra point today.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah.
DJ Big Boss, let's go to you for Pac-12 action. We have Cal at Washington State. Cal 1-3 in the Pac-12. Washington State 1-2 Pac-12. Martin Stadium. Pullman, Washington, cold. the Pacific Northwest, 28 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. Cal snapped its 3-game losing streak with an impressive 21-17 win at home over Oregon. Washington State lost the second straight game, 38-13 at USC. Cal opened up as 2-point favorites, now 1.5 or 1, with a total that's dropped from 56.5 down to 52.5. Big Boss, anything for you here?
These are two teams. They're very lopsided. They only put up a few yards on offense. They give up a little bit more on defense, but still kind of underish for both teams. Cal plays really good defense. The offense has been struggling a little bit. Now Washington State, we expected a lot more out of them this year, but they look like they're underperforming just a little bit on the field. But in this one right here, I'm gonna stay off and just watch this one because this Cal team scared me with the streakiness on offense.
John Ryan, Cal, Washington State.
I like Washington State here. They're a team that transitioned from what we remember the last couple of years as a high prolific passing type team, and they've evolved now into a pretty solid running game. And I like that running game against the California defense. I think based on the machine learning, the Washington State's going to score at least 28 points. And when they have, they are 111 and 42 the last 10 years in games that they scored more than 28 points. So I like Washington State to cover by 7, maybe 10 points.
Wow.
Ragoo, what do you think of John Ryan bullish on Washington State?
I like Cal. I think Washington State's going to bleed on the defensive side a little too much. I think the running game plays into Cal's hand just a little bit. I agree with John. 28 points is their number, but they give up 36 on the other side, so that gives Cal a little cushion to maybe, I'm not going to say get creative, but they do struggle pretty bad on third down. That's a red sign for me. But I would lean Cal. I'm probably not going to get to the window, but the short number and the contrarian, like John said, the number's dropping from 3 to 1. Cal's probably going to be a pick 'em by the time game goes off. So if you like Washington State, you better play it now.
Move on to 6 p.m. action. Boise State, Wyoming. Boise State opening up as 12-point favorites. That's gone all the way down to 9.5. The total's gone from 48.5 down to 46.5. Boise State 4-1, 4-0 in the Mountain West. Wyoming 2-3, 2-3 in the Mountain West. Jonah Field, War Memorial Stadium, Laramie, Wyoming. Cold, 15 Fahrenheit, light snow, 11 miles per hour. Haven't seen Boise since the 21st of November when they went to Hawaii and handled them comfortably. Hawaii got some late calls and didn't. Hawaii ended up covering the full game. Boise State won 40-32. Wyoming coming off a 17-16 loss at home to New Mexico, a shocking loss to a weak Lobo team. Mountain West, where Big Boss does it best. Boise State, Wyoming, Big Boss.
Man, I'm going to. Believe it or not, I'm jumping in with Wyoming and taking the points right here. Wyoming at home is where you want to take Wyoming, period. It's like a night and day team than when they travel. And good thing in this one, the weather has no factor to neither team. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But Wyoming brings to the table a lot of physical play. And this is not the Boise State team that we had in the past that welcome that physical play. They like to get a little more finesse on offense. They haven't been running it like they want to, but they've been winning here and there. The variable of them sitting out for a week does give me a bit of hesitation that they may just be hungry to get back on the field, but not going into Wyoming. Wyoming don't play that at home. They're going to run the ball down your throat. They're going to stop you on the ground, force you to pass, and sometimes they can play some good pass defense. So this game is definitely leaning under. The line setters know that, so the line has been set appropriately as far as the total. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But give me those points with Wyoming. I'll take it.
Wyoming with the points. Big Ragoo, what do you think of Boss's look there?
I like it. I lean Wyoming. Makes a ton of sense of what he's saying. And I think that win by San Jose put Boise in that championship game too, if I stand correct on that. But I think there is going to be a little weather, right? Isn't it supposed to get a little bit of snow up there, like 16 degrees? So I don't think you're going to – I don't know about the wind, but like he says, Wyoming, they're going to try to get Valladay, back for this game and try to pound the rock. And we know what they're all about on defense. And it is a different place to play football up in Laramie against that team. So I would tend to take the points here. I would lean taking the 10, 9 points, whatever it is.
John Ryan, Boise State, Wyoming. Anything for you?
It's a perfect game to take Wyoming. I agree with my colleagues here. Perfect game too to put 50 to 75% on the line before the game starts. Use the in-game weather conditions, whatever to your advantage. My machine learning says 90% probability that Wyoming will score 28 or more. They're 10-1 the last 3 seasons, 98-35 since 2010. When doing so, I'm on Wyoming.
Wow, very, very, very interesting breakdown. Move on to App State at Georgia Southern. App State 7-3, 5-2 in the Sun Belt. Georgia Southern 7-4, 4-3 in the Sun Belt. Statesboro, Georgia, Allen E. Paulson Stadium, 65 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 2 miles per hour. App State opening up as 8.5-point favorites, now 9.5-point favorites. This total at 45, and I moved on Georgia Southern at +9. Last night, I wish I had waited to get that half point, but I'm not sure what we're going to get out of App State now. Now that loss to Louisiana Lafayette, 24-21, they've lost 2 of their last 3. It was a very underwhelming game. I mean, ULL, they couldn't hike the ball. I mean, they had no long snapping whatsoever. And they were in terrible situations throughout the game, and App State wasn't able to take advantage. And I just wonder what left they have to play for here. And this is a big game for Georgia Southern, and they're coming off that impressive 23 win at home against FAU, and I think they can cover the points here. And I moved on it. Let's go to John Ryan. I moved on Georgia Southern. What do you think here? Sunbelt action.
I agree with that, Jimmy. I would check the quarterback status, though, of Wirtz. Last I saw, he's questionable, and I believe it's the throwing, the shoulder on his throwing arm. So if he's going, I think that will be good. However, even if it's his shoulder that he uses to throw footballs, this is a game where Georgia Southern might make 10 or fewer pass attempts. We all know about the ground attack. And there may not be any need at all for any downfield throwing against Appalachian State based on what you said. So I'm in support of your bet on Georgia Southern.
I like it. Big Boss, what do you think here? App State, Georgia Southern.
I'm right in line with the Georgia Southern bet. We don't know what team we getting out of App State. But this could be a point for them. App State try to bounce back, but bounce back for what? There's nothing left in the tank for them right here. But Georgia Southern, one thing we know, they're gonna bring that triple option, no matter what quarterback is in there playing, and it's gonna be a ground game. And you giving me 9.5 points on a game that's gonna be determined on the ground. I'm gonna take the home dog with that one. So give me Georgia Southern too.
I like it. Ragoo, what do you think here?
Georgia, make it a triple. Georgia Southern. I think App State season sailed when they lost to Coastal, and then the icing on the cake was the Louisiana game, and Zach Thomas. He's not the same. He's having an up and down year for that quarterback there. So, and it's going to be a bonus, like you were saying. If we get Wirtz, Wirtz is going to be the bonus. Is going to be the icing on the cake. Hopefully he goes. I know he's hurting a little bit, but he might suit up for this game. He's questionable, but I don't think it's going to matter either way. I think solid taking the better and a touchdown at home with Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern 6-0 at home too. So
I love it. All right, let's keep rolling and let's pick our spots here because I don't. We want to get everybody to the window and we want to get best bets in. And there's 24 minutes before kickoff, so let's pick our spots. What we want to attack. Louisiana Tech at TCU. Is this a game you guys want to break down together? Because I'll get it rolling.
I don't have anything.
I'm off.
Okay, perfect. Then we have LSU, Florida. Is this a game you guys want to attack?
I like LSU quite a bit.
All right, let's break down this spot here. LSU, Florida. LSU 3-5 in the SEC at number 6. Florida 8-1 in the SEC. Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Gainesville, Florida. 64 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy. 2 miles per hour is the wind. Florida opening up as 24-point favorites. That's moved down to 23.5 or 23. This total has gone from 68 down to 67 or 66.5. Florida has come in with a couple underwhelming victories. We last saw them in a 31-19 win at Tennessee, and LSU comes in back-to-back losses. They've lost 3 of their last 4, but that was a very difficult Crimson Tide team that they faced last week. They lose at home to Alabama, 55-17. John Ryan, LSU, Florida.
Well, I've said this before, and this is not the reason why I like LSU. It's the machine learning and the other metrics. But in each year, in the last since 2010, I've had a dog of 17.5 or more points somehow cover and win. I haven't had that yet, and it hasn't occurred in the SEC yet. So you want to know? I can tell that DJ wants to ask me, how many times has this happened? Well, in 2020 already, we've had 7 games that have had a underdog of 17 or more points win the game. September 26th, Kansas State beat Oklahoma 38-35, and they were a 28-point underdog. Most recently, December 5th, which I believe was just last week, was the Rice-Marshall game. That was 22 points in their win. And, these things happen. Maryland beat Penn State as a 24.5-point underdog, 35-19. And honestly, if you're LSU, you're the defending national champ, isn't this the game that could erase the losing ways of the season and the pain of the season and, knock off Florida and their hopes of even getting into the college football playoff? If I, had to guess here, I think LSU is going to be bringing the load to this game tonight, and Florida's vulnerable.
Very, very interesting take. Ragoo, what do you think of hearing when you hear that?
I don't think they got a shot to win the game, but I think Florida's might have a little difficulty covering. I mean, Florida's got the they're number one in the the Tigers are worse in the conference. They're giving up over 313 yards a game, 469 total, 33 points a game, and Florida has got they're number one in FBS in passing offense at 376 yards a game and 42 points per game. So I don't think LSU is going to win the game, but I like the look that John brings to that. But this is going to be the last game, probably for Pitts, possibly. I know it's Kadarius Toney's last game in the Swamp, and so is it for Trash. So I think they're going to put a good showing out here. And here's the thing: keep this in the back of your mind. They don't have to win impressively because they're going to see Alabama in the SEC championship game too. So it's going to be a matter of maybe they kind of, I'm going to say lay low, but maybe get some garbage time points for LSU. But Brendan was playing for LSU. I'd say maybe, but with the freshman and the backup quarterback in there too. And Florida's defense isn't that good too. That's the other thing. So maybe they trip up there. They'll allow LSU to get some points, but not get the win.
Wow, I'm almost sold. Big Boss, what do you think of our guys here liking LSU plus 23.5?
It makes a lot of sense, but LSU, they've been Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on what teams show up for the game for them too. And, I don't know. At this point, they really don't have nothing to lose. They kind of building towards next year. So I expect LSU to give it a good fight. But I just love that play by the quarterback over there at Florida. You never can the way he drops that ball out there, you never could doubt that he can cover a spread. But, I'm off the game. But if I had to do it, I'd jump in with the fellas and group hug.
Yeah, that's a big mismatch. The passing, on the offense, on the defense, the passing game.
After my 2 IPAs last night, I opened up my app and put a little bit of money, a sprinkle on the money line at plus 900.
Wow, that's exciting. Very exciting. Okay, I would like to close this show by capping this USC-UCLA game and then the San Diego State BYU game. If there's anything else that interests you guys, jump in. Are you guys moving on Auburn, Mississippi State at all?
No.
Okay. Let's talk USC, UCLA. What a fun one. Rose Bowl, Pasadena, California, 60 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. We've seen movement in the market on this game. USC opening up at minus 3.5, and money started coming in on UCLA That stopped. We're back at 3.5. This total, though, has risen 3 points from 61 to 64. USC coming off 4 straight win to start the season, 38-13 at home over Washington State. They've now won 3 of 4 since an opening loss at Colorado. Or UCLA has now won 3 of 4 since the season opening loss at Colorado. This past weekend, they won at Arizona State 25-18, and we just saw what Arizona State did to Arizona. USC, UCLA, we are in L.A., well, Pasadena. So let's talk to our man in L.A., DJ Big Boss. I'm on USC. John Ryan even said that USC team total over was going to be a nice look. It wasn't available earlier in the week, and I haven't moved on it. Take it away, boss. USC, UCLA.
I can honestly say this year I hate them both equally, but both of them been getting by the skin of their ass, and I've been expecting Kelly to fall off for a long time. And I think when it really comes down to it locally, especially in this COVID season, UCLA is like a state, they regulated by the state. So I'm pretty sure practice, everything has to be by the book and all that kind of stuff. And USC, on the other hand, is a bunch of private money and little wild kids. They might be having COVID parties and everything. So I think USC is way more up for the fight this year. And even in the down year, they never want to lose to UCLA. But as far as the two coaching matchups, a lot of the people over there at UCLA, they're gaining more confidence in Kelly, but this could be a really important game to whether if they look at Kelly for the long term or if it's just a stop in between. And then Hilton on the other side, he really can't hold on to his seat. But if you look at his numbers, he hasn't been just terrible. He's been okay. So I don't think he's really going to last, especially if Urban Meyer comes in the picture. So I think he's going to have to show everything he has and prove it on the field right here against the crosstown rival. I'm going with the Thugs, because USC, in case y'all don't know, is located right near South Central, and UCLA is way in the wonderful likes of Westwood, right over there where OJ and Nicole stayed. But I'm going to go USC on this one big time. I think they come out and they got to smack it to UCLA. But it could be a high-scoring game because Kelly has came up with some ways to develop some offense over there.
I love it. John Ryan, you still bullish on USC?
I am very bullish on USC. I think they cover by 14 or more.
Ooh.
I think it's close.
14 or more. Big Ragoo, what do you think here, USC, UCLA?
I love USC today. I think they have a ton to play for. If they lose this game today, they're going home for the rest of the season. They're not going to participate in any bowl games. It's Fiesta Bowl or a bust for USC, and they get the job done by double digits today.
I love it. Are you guys interested at all in the Virginia Tech game? All right. Perfect. And then do you guys want to have any interest in Stanford, Oregon State?
I don't.
All right, that's great. Then let's talk San Diego State, BYU. This was a spot that CMAC loved San Diego State earlier in the week, and the market moved against him, and he showed no fear, and he went back in. He got San Diego State again at 17.5. There's been a little bit of buyback on San Diego State. They're now at 17 or 16.5. This total's gone from 50 to 47.5. I did move on the under. I got the under 50 at minus 110 on Monday early evening, and now we're sitting at 47.5. So I feel good there. San Diego bounced back from 2 straight losses with a 29-17 win at home over Colorado State. They've been much better at home than on the road, and that's what's kept me off backing San Diego State at this big number. BYU coming off their first loss this season, 22-17 at Coastal Carolina. It was a gut punch. For a team that's put up 44.5 points per game this season, seeing them only manage 17 was surprising. San Diego State, BYU. John Ryan, you have a move on this game.
I don't, Jimmy. The Coastal Carolina held BYU to 17 points after they scored, I believe it was 5 straight games of 40 or more. And, based on my stuff, San Diego State's defense is actually much better than Coastal Carolina's edition. So I got to, that's what makes me so confused in this game. The line's going up. BYU is supposedly the better team, but I don't know if they really are. So I'm too clouded.
Yeah, I've hated watching San Diego State work on the road. Let's go over to our man DJ Big Boss, who knows these teams well. What do you think?
Check the track, guys.
The Mountain West, where I do it the best. San Diego State stepping a little out of conference to an old conference mate playing BYU. Now we seen what happened to San Diego State when they stepped out of conference to play Colorado. It was last minute, but they did step out of conference to play over there. And San Diego State runs a dynamic system. It's a high defense, high running. They don't pass a lot. And when you play like that, you definitely can't play from behind. BYU can get out there and play some flashy ball at times. If they get out by a touchdown or two, it's going to be no coming back for San Diego State. The offense plays so bad against Colorado, who was a team that was willing to give back that defense that San Diego State put on them. So here you go, another team, BYU. They're going to give that right back to you in a tough defense, and it's going to wear down the offense. It's going to wear down the defense because the offense is not going to be able to move the ball. Just a typical situation. And late in the game, BYU is going to go up by 20.
Yeah, interesting breakdown. Boss, I am going to ask you about these two late games, Fresno State, New Mexico, and UNLV, Hawaii. Big Ragoo just got the bad news on Tua. That sucked.
Yeah, baby Tua is out.
That sucks. Are you moving at all on the San Diego State BYU game, Ragoo?
No, sir. But I did want to give you a quick look on the Virginia game. Sure. I'm on Virginia Tech money line in that game. I think they get back-to-back wins for the first time in over a decade and a half. So I like Virginia Tech's defense today to get the job done. Virginia's defense to get the job done.
Okay, he's backing, but you're backing VTech.
No, Virginia. I'm taking Virginia money line.
Okay, sorry, I did that wrong here. Money line. Okay, let's keep rolling here. San Diego State, BYU, that's in the book. So we're going to get to best bets right now. But, Boss, is there anything, any moves you're making on these late spots, Fresno State and New Mexico and UNLV at Hawaii?
I don't really want to mess with the UNLV and Hawaii game at all, but I think Fresno State has this one in the bag. Fresno State, they played a good game last week. I mean, they could have pulled that off, but it didn't happen. So I think this time they have a little lesser class opponent, and they get a chance to hold their will against them and cover the spread.
It's a big one, too, at 13.5 or 14. All right, there we have it. Let's go into best bet time. John Ryan's best bet on Monday, Arizona State -10. Was an easy casher. He gave us his best bet Saturday at USC -3.5. That was at +104 FanDuel. John Ryan, what is your best bet other than USC?
I'm going to go with LSU.
John Ryan. LSU best bet. All right, DJ Big Boss, best bet time.
Best bet, I'm gonna go with the are you on all three of my best bets?
Sure.
So I'm gonna go Iowa on the money line. I'm gonna go Wyoming plus the points, and I'm gonna follow my colleague John Ryan later with USC and take that -3.5 over there.
I love it. Big Ragoo. My man, best bets.
I'm not going to ride on John's. My best bet was USC also, but he's already given that out, so it's time to come up with two more. I'm gonna go a little bit contrarian here. I'm going to take Minnesota, even though they got a bunch of players out, to beat Nebraska, and I'm going to take Rutgers. That's right, Rutgers to win the game against Maryland this week. Good luck to you guys.
I absolutely love it. What spectacular work, you guys. Great job with this giant card. John Ryan, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss, thank you guys so much. 9 minutes to kick off again. Best bets, John Ryan, who already gave out USC on the money shows on LSU +23.5. We got Big Boss on Iowa money line, Wyoming plus the points, USC minus the points. Big Ragoo, USC, Minnesota plus the points, and Rutgers as well. Great stuff, you guys. We have nothing without you great cappers in the chat. Jin, R, Brendan Saldana, Black Thor, Dennis Garcia, Cube O, Vitalis, Brian Pocone, David Sharp, Dutch Boy Fresh, all you guys, Birdie, Buck Nasty, Steve, Remarkable Gaming, Trotwam, K. Paul VIP, Jake Kaiser. What a treat, absolute treat is to roll with you guys. You guys inspire us. You add insights, humor, and we're so thankful to cap with you day in and day out. Mark Nicholson, you were OG and then backed our show for an hour and 49 minutes. You were here from the first second, giving us energy and giving us insights. Thank you so much. Any last words, John Ryan? I got to get a couple bets in.
I don't know what to say, really. I'm kind of speechless, and I know it's hard to believe, but I do like USC quite a bit. It might be one of those times that I actually violate my discipline and bet a little extra. We'll have to see how many IPAs I have between now and 7:30.
I love it. Ragoo, any last words?
USC all the way. Best bet of the day, definitely.
I love it. And DJ Big Boss, could you put a bow on this show?
Hey, I just want to tell all my people, especially on the West Coast, thanks for coming to hang out with us again on another Saturday morning. And, this pandemic stuff is real, man. Y'all stay safe. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And I don't want none of y'all to die in this time. This is no taste for death. We can't even hold your legacy up like we want to. So everybody stay healthy, stay at home, stay safe, and keep coming back for some more of this cash. And let's